Welcome to Post Office West. John Pollock here alongside Wai Ting.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
Doing all right, actually, yeah. I mean, this is a second video we've done here today. First one was obviously the breaking news, but yeah, now we're here to talk about
the WWE Network.
It's huge.
The world keeps moving.
Huge. Yes, okay, let's talk about it. Yes.
All right. So we didn't really discuss this earlier this week, but I did want to spend a little bit of time because the WWE for a while, they've been talking about increasing the number of tiers that they'll have on the network. This looked like an inevitability at the business summit that they held earlier this year. They went so far as to call it WWE Network 2.0, which they admittedly stated is not the name we're probably going to use. We have no better name at this moment, so we're just calling it that. So,
okay,
what do you think about 2.0s out there? I think that's pretty lazy.
I'd like to know where the 1.1 was, 1.5, 1.6.
No, we just jump like phases.
It's just an OS upgrade.
There's usually no gradual input.
You know, they say like when you upgrade your iOS, you should wait till like 2.1 or 12.1 or something like that because that's where they really get all the kinks out. So I'm expecting a lot of
Don't be the guinea pigs for a little 0.1 upgrade.
Yeah, 2.0.
So right now I'm just looking at Ryan Satin, who had this up at Pro Wrestling Sheet. They sent out a survey regarding the WWE Network expanding their tiers. And it reads, WWE is considering a new premium tier for WWE Network, offering more content, features, and perks. This tier would be available for $15 per month. Now remember, that, I would assume, is US. So you Canadians up here. For this to happen, Rogers would have to be on board with this because they are the distributor of the network in Canada. So it gets a little tangled up in Canada because they do have an outside company that is the distributor.
They would price it accordingly. Yeah, I wonder how the tier system would work with Rogers.
Yeah, because we pay more than the U.S. does for the network.
Well, with conversion, it's actually a little less.
I guess when you do it that way, yes. Yeah. I would imagine that it would simply be they'll introduce the new tier, but you never know when Rogers is involved. Like, is there going to be will it be $15? Will it be $18? Will it be $20? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so in the survey they listed these as possibilities of what you could be getting. Current and arc. Let's go one by one. I want to get your reaction to each one. And you as a consumer, would this entice you, or is this not a factor in you upgrading your WWE Network?
Well, so first of all, I mean, I think for $9.99, you're getting tremendous value. Like, they've really done really
I don't think
well.
anyone could complain about what you get for $10 a month.
$15.99, I feel like I could potentially stomach it if the content is good enough. It's something I'm willing to part with. I mean, still consider the fact that we used to pay $40 a month on these things. $16 for a lot of extra content could still be a steal, but let's see what they're offering.
Yeah, so we'll go through what were listed in the survey, and then we did our own survey on our Twitter account, and we got a lot of responses of what audiences want to see. So I want to just run through everything with you and see what you like, what you don't like. First one, current and archived in-ring programming from ICW and Progress Wrestling.
I think that depends how familiar you already are with those two promotions. ICW, I've certainly heard a lot less about. Progress is a promotion that I still think is quite relevant. I don't know how much of a draw ICW archives are going to be. I don't know how big of a draw Progress archives are going to be. But current Progress, I could see there being some interest. But I'll say, like, is that enough to make me pay $6 extra? Mm-hmm. Not personally.
You know, on the earnings call on Thursday, Michelle Wilson, who's one of the co-presidents of the company, stated that it is in-ring content that drives the network.
Not Swerve, not Ride Along, not any of those things.
Well, she said in-ring content, although when they did have those original series, they did do well in the viewership. But the thing was, they were very expensive as well.
Okay.
And when they say in-ring content, I mean, they're talking about live pay-per-views, NXT, like new stuff. It's not like you're putting up old Nitros and they're doing huge viewership. So you're talking even smaller when you're talking about ICW and Progress at a time that you're also trying to market NXT UK. Like, you're trying to send people to that to see these characters and not... Like, to me, going to this higher tier, you're going to an even deeper fan base that are going to crave stuff like this that is worth an extra $5 a month.
Yep.
Live monthly Saturday night's main event show. So you would take a house show once a month on a Saturday night. I would think with dual rosters and air it on the network.
I have no interest in that.
There's zero
personally.
for me.
Like, I already feel like I see enough of this WWE roster that you can't pay me to watch more matches that just have no relevance to them whatsoever. I might be a special case, though, because I watch so much of this stuff. But the thing is, like, if they're trying to target somebody to be interested in house shows, I have to imagine those people are already watching Raw, are already watching the pay-per-views, are already watching SmackDown, and they can't even get enough. So they want to watch the house shows too. I mean, I think...
What's the draw? The draw would be pairings. So I could see... What about this, okay? The idea that once a month you would do this house show, and either you would do a few Raw versus SmackDown matches where you're at least getting a fresh pairing.
Something special, yes.
Or what I think would be even better, because again, we're talking about the diehard fans. Mm-hmm. You have some NXT talent mix in with main roster.
I think
if you got
cool.
to see AJ Styles and Adam Cole on a Saturday night, I might not watch that live, but I will watch that the next day.
Keep in mind, like, I think so much of like the game now, as it relates to these streaming services, is not so much about what people will sit down to watch, but just simply giving them the option that they can do this. So maybe there's a Saturday night where, like right now, I can tell you I have no interest in seeing a typical house show, but I might be sitting around on a Saturday night where I'm like, yeah, I wonder what's on TV. I wonder, like, who's facing whom in Tallahassee or wherever.
Yeah.
And then you can flip it on. For that convenience, you're going to pay that extra $6. I could see there being interest there. So, yeah. Sure. Okay, please go on.
The goal, you're right, though. The goal here is not necessarily viewership. It is subscribers just going to this tier. Like, I signed up for Honor Club June, maybe. I've watched it probably the number, like, less than 10 times. But I've let it lapse. I like having it there.
Yeah.
I like knowing that I've got it.
What if?
Yes. Yeah. And I haven't canceled it yet. So I think that's the goal, is just get people to this tier. And a large amount of them, especially this fan base, if you're signing up for ICW, you're probably going to stick with that tier.
But if you're telling me right now, for $6 extra dollars, you're going to get these two things, to me, that's not enough for me to shell out $6 extra bucks.
Well, no, but there's a whole list here.
Yeah, what else?
Well, the next one, special live events such as special house shows, which to me is kind of the same thing.
Like Beast in the East, things like that.
Like, you can dress up Saturday night's main event as much as you want. It's going to be a house show that at most you'll get a little push on television.
I think you'll probably get like a special main event, for some of those occasions. Like matches that will be somewhat built up to. Like if you're talking like a special appearance or a special one-off, like a C show is essentially what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Again, it's like, how much of these resources do you put into promoting a Saturday night's main event every month, and what that takes away from your pay-per-view that's going to be taking place 2 weeks later?
Yeah, for some of these, I think it'll be interesting. Like, even Progress, I expect no mention of it on, Raw or SmackDown, but maybe all that promotion just takes place within either social or on the network itself.
Free shipping on all merchandise purchased on WWE Shop.
That does not speak to me.
No.
I'm not somebody who buys WWE merchandise.
But there are a lot of people
But there are a lot of people that do. And I think targeting those types of fans, like the fans that travel to 47 shows in a row.
Listen, the odd time I've bought a Christmas present for someone on WWE Shop, the shipping's significant. Like, that might be enough of a kicker for people that if I'm saving $20 on shipping, this alone is worth it.
In putting together the Post Wrestling Store, I'm certainly learning a lot about that world right now. And shipping, is sort of like a tough deal. And depending on where you are, it can make sense to offer free shipping, or it might not. In the WWE's case, because they're such a large supplier, they're going with the Amazon model. Of offering free shipping as an added bonus. And they might save a few dollars here and there, but in the end, they're gathering, $6 extra a month from people who might not even buy anything.
Automatic membership into a loyalty program to earn WWE prizes. How loyal are you to the cult? This means
earn prizes. Okay, a membership program, like a point system.
Yeah.
A lot of places do this.
This seems like a nice little perk if you're a big fan, but not a reason you're going to upgrade your subscription for.
Yeah. Again, I feel like at this point, these perks are not targeted towards you and I. They're not targeted towards the type of wrestling fan who just wants to watch the content. It's the type of fan that wants to take part in the overall experience beyond just watching what's on TV. That's buying merchandise, that's going to live shows, earning points to get merchandise. I think if you love the company, I'm a huge fan of Lego. Okay, and I'm a part of their point system.
You are?
I am.
Oh, shit.
Because every time I buy, first of all, that shit's expensive. Okay. Secondly, every time you spend money, you get if you spend up to a certain amount, you get to get $5 off of your next order. And to me, that's significant because it's the only way I can save money there. If I buy a lot from that company, I'd want to be involved with anything that it has to offer. So I could see that being a perk. But I'm out of that kind of range now, I would say.
The next one I think is definitely sways people. Early access to live event tickets.
Okay, sure. Like what Fight Pass is doing.
Yeah. They do that, I think, for takeover events, for your big pay-per-views, a special edition of Raw, stuff like that. I think that is a perk to people, to be able to get access to a show that you can't guarantee getting a ticket for.
Yeah. Again, if you're the fan that goes to every live show every time the WWE comes to your town, that could be incentive. Okay.
Automatic entry into WWE-themed sweepstakes.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of these just feel like we're just brainstorming any kind of ideas. I don't know how much of a...
Well, that's what it is. That's what this whole thing is, right? It's them seeing what other services have offered and then seeing what they can employ themselves.
Yeah. I look at some of these just very vague, what these sweepstakes entail, whereas something like this is more specific. Ability to stream and download WWE content on up to 4 devices concurrently instead of 2, which I guess is what it's at now.
So that's taken influence now from Netflix and what they do with their specific tiers, where you can only stream so much for the lowest tier, and then the more you go, the more devices you can use.
Yeah, and with Netflix, I mean, not all their content is downloadable, but all the specific content is. WWE owns all their content, so they're not going to run into any problems where it's certain content that's licensed that they can't have downloaded.
Do they have limitations right now about how many devices you can stream?
Well, it says here 2. It says it's 2 in
have
the
you
survey.
Ever tested that?
No, I haven't. I've never.
Because I'm sure I've had at least my thing. This will certainly cut down on the people that are sharing an account. I think that is something that would speak to me more, especially if I was somebody who was sharing my account with a bunch of people.
Is downloading content something that would be worth it for you?
I think that's great.
I think if you're on a road trip or something and you want to catch up on a pay-per-view or a show,
absolutely,
much easier.
If I'm on a flight and I don't have Wi-Fi access, to me that is the perk that I think speaks to me the most right now. All
right, so we asked on Twitter.
So that's it?
Those were the ones in the survey.
Okay.
So that collection together, are you increasing your subscription?
No, not for me.
Not just on that.
There's too much within that I think is not geared towards me. All the stuff about tickets and contests, I'm not somebody who purchases all that stuff anyway, so it really makes no difference to me. The only thing that you're telling me right now that I'm getting bonus that I would care about, ICW in Progress, mildly interested, but not that much unless there's a really hot Progress card. That's kind of the only reason. And then the house shows, I have to kind of see what the cards are, but I can tell you right now, if you're just showing me random house shows, not that interested either. And then the downloading thing, which I think is good, but not for $6.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. The downloading thing is nice. I don't think it would be enough that I'd spend an extra $5 on the house show. I do like the idea if you were to say that once a month we're going to have WWE talent versus NXT talent, something that is a hook. But again, I don't know if that would be enough. Is there enough there for $5 worth?
What can you think of an idea that would get you to up that?
And to be honest, the Progress Library is something I'd be interested in because I don't subscribe to Demand Progress. But I would be... Again, I don't know if I would have much time to go back and watch that. But if I was not doing this as a full-time job and was just a fan, I would... the libraries would do something for me.
For the type of fan that I think I am... I think the direction that they're heading towards with the Progress thing is a good start. If it wasn't just Progress, and if it was basically if they absorbed, Fight, or WWN, and it's not just Progress that I'm getting, but all the other hot indies out there, like Evolve, if they're going to stream,
Evolve was not mentioned in the survey, but you would think, and they've just relaunched again their WWN service after leaving FlowSlam. If they would have content here, and what this means for these third-party promotions and their own streaming services, does Progress have to shut down their on-demand service once they go on the network, or will they keep that running? And
I read a quote from Billy Corgan, somewhere where he talks about seeing the WWE Network as sort of like a central hub in the future for wrestling in general, and if that was the direction that they were going towards, where they're broadcasting now, at NWA without any streaming issues, guaranteed high production value or at least streaming value. That to me would speak to me more than anything I think listed here.
Well, after watching that NWA pay-per-view, I'm craving anything that literally speaks to me.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So we put the survey up on Twitter asking people, what would you like to see for a higher price tier? So we won't go through every response, but some of the ones that stood out. Downloadable content comes up here. Robert Brockie, I'd love to have the app save my password so that I don't have to log in twice to get to a damn video.
That is a big problem, I think. I mean, not just online.
The Canadian login process through Rogers or whatever is ridiculous.
Just even on the website, it's pretty painful. But have you ever tried logging in on your cell phone? Every single time?
I won't.
It doesn't save your password. So you have to log into your Rogers account. You have to log into your WWE Network account every single time. And I have separate passwords and emails for both those things. So it's just... I
never watch the network on my phone or iPad. It's always on my laptop for that reason. And it's seriously, I know this sounds like first world problems, but
of course.
It's 8 clicks every single time just to get to the main screen of the network. Here's one. Let me see if you like this. A timeline mode where you can choose what shows your timeline will include. And then you could start in 2010, see all these shows in the correct order. Essentially, he's making a playlist. And
with a story, for storylines?
I guess you could have a time capsule together so that after the Go Home Raw, you go right to the pay-per-view.
Oh, okay.
It would just go in a chronological order. You have a playlist where one goes after the other. Mm-hmm. Maybe you start on you want to watch a run of the Raws leading into SummerSlam one year, and you can just build it. That's a little thing that goes a long way with people, is just having options like that.
I imagine the way they structure the files, it's just all Raws together, all SmackDowns together.
That's how it is. Yeah. It goes from one Raw to the next.
And that's a little unfortunate because we don't watch wrestling that way. So I think that's a great idea if they can implement it. Is it going to get you to pay $5 though? These are all just kind of little improvements, right?
And maybe it's all a bunch of little things that add up to be enough of an incentive rather than that one big idea, which I don't even know what that big concept is that you could introduce.
But these changes all just seem to be things that they should be making across the board anyway, By the way, speaking of Robert, I've got a little surprise from him.
Oh, yes. I look forward to that. I'd pay extra for the return of 3-hour pay-per-views. So they want less. They'll pay more for less. Offline downloads is key. Netflix adding that was a game changer. Mm-hmm. A lot of downloadable content here people are bringing up. Mm-hmm. A live stream of Vince's office and the writer's room.
Yeah, that would be great. That would never happen.
All right. Some people are bringing here Raw and SmackDown the day after on demand. That is not happening. Yeah. That is part of the deals that they have where they're being paid an enormous amount by the USA Network.
It's not worth $6 to them.
No. And they are being paid so much, and you're not going to recoup that by taking that away from USA. Mm. And right now it's going to be the 30-day windows, and that's going to be there for another 6 years.
Yeah. I imagine any bonus that they can take out of the WWE Network and get other people to pay for it, even if we're talking something like a Hulu deal, they will take out of the network and get people to pay for it versus, relying on it as an incentive because they have other things that they can do on the network.
Weekend House Show Loop live streams. That does nothing for me. I don't need to see the house shows.
Yeah, but again, it's the idea of giving you the option, right? If I care to watch a brand new WWE show this weekend, I can tune into the network. How do you think that would... Let's say that actually happens. How do you think that would change the nature of house shows? Because I know, a lot of guys will go to house shows as a way to prepare for the TV match that they're about to have.
I don't see them ever getting to a point where they'd be airing all the house shows so that you'd have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're seeing relatively the same show 3 nights in a row.
Sorry, please.
Yeah, I just think that if they did decide to go the house show route, they'd be very selective in, 1 to 2 a month.
Also, in terms of storyline, house shows are typically not really recognized. They will do many rematches or previews of matches that are about to take place on a significant pay-per-view at the house show first. Can they still do that if all these shows are going to be broadcast?
Like, I understand that, probably your most successful option would be main roster house shows.
And it's easy to do. Because they're already putting the shows on, you just put a camera there.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it's, like,
it's what New Japan does.
Yeah. I see these performers so much every week. Even New Japan, like, I don't need to watch every single Cork and Hall show. Like, that's
the option that you have
is there. Yeah.
Is there, does that adds value to the $10 that you're paying to New Japan World?
Yeah. Myself personally, I would have much more interest in seeing an NXT house show, or even like the B squad of the NXT that are doing the small Florida shows and getting to see some of the talent that is not on TV every week and seeing like who is shining, who are the talent you're not seeing. Now, I think that's an extremely small amount of people that would be interested in that kind of a thing. But I think you're marketing to an extreme niche as well. So
perhaps.
I don't know. I'm probably in the minority there.
No, that's an extreme niche in one sense. I think you're the type of fan who's very interested in like the wrestling world at large, who are the prospects that are coming up. But the other niche is just the niche that's just dedicated into what's going on the main roster. They want to know everything that's going on with your Nikki Bellas and your Miz's and your Dolph Zigglers. And for them, it might be these house shows that's sort of the answer, and that's the hook.
Would you see this decision to add, if you're talking about house shows, does that increase, like the Brock Lesnar house shows seem tailor-made for this kind of idea?
Yeah.
Like that automatically is Brock wrestling. I think people...
That changes your house shows, in my opinion. I think you have to have a hook like that for all of your big shows. Much in the same way that I think, New Japan World has seemed to spread out like New Japan's... road to shows by spreading out all those matches across, like instead of one big show having all these hot matches, you have hot main events for all of them, and then the undercard is just kind of whatever, right? I could see them starting to do that too.
I think that's the biggest thing, is that just presenting a straightforward house show is going to get old fast. You need hooks for these shows. Whether it's
hot main events,
a performer from the past coming in, a Brock on a show, an NXT performer on a show. Like, you need hooks beyond just... It's the stars you saw on Monday and Tuesday having their matches. Custom playlists, again, coming up with like themes.
Is this all Robert?
No. These have been multiple people. Yeah.
I've been going up all the time.
Yeah. Playlists like that you could customize, like a list of 10 Shawn Michaels matches, for instance, stuff like that.
Customize, so you make your own playlist.
Yeah. Okay. Stuff like that. I guess where
share them or something.
Yeah, maybe there's something to that about
Spotify.
Yeah, being able to look up matches, for instance. Like if you wanted to just find Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair from 2003. It's kind of hard to find that. I mean, maybe if you could...
Is it? Like you can't type in Shawn Michaels or Ric
Flair? I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's not as hard as I'm thinking. I don't look up individual matches on the show or on the network. Let's continue here.
To me, that tells me that I think that's still a very niche thing, Like no one's subscribing or not subscribing because they can't find a particular match, in my opinion.
Classic episodes of Superstars. There's a lot of people who want to see this downloadable content. That seems to be very popular. 1.25 the speed. Speed alterations.
Please, that is the perk I would...
We joke, but that's standard now on streaming devices.
I would pay $20 a month for this option, just because like so much of this stuff takes so long. If I could watch this stuff really fast, it's like, yeah.
Could you watch it though at a higher speed? Like, I can listen to things at an increased speed. I don't know if I can watch and appreciate a wrestling match.
It's not the same.
At an adjusted speed.
It's not. But sometimes, like, I'm watching, like, even, like, stuff like NXT, I'm sure I would enjoy the match, but often, like, I'm watching these shows just to stay up to date with what's going on. And I think being able to watch something faster to get that information to me, long promos that just go on a little too long, to be able to watch that stuff in 2 times the speed, I would greatly welcome it.
Different promotions would be awesome, but I'd like the whole archives open with easier accessibility, was one person who stated this. A lot of people looking at more archived libraries. Are there other libraries that are out there? What would grab your interest, like beyond a Progress or an ICW?
Archives, like in terms of like old stuff?
Just libraries that are out there. Like if you could have your pick of, do you think that there's a value to the WWE and Impact working out a deal for their library if they were willing to spend money for Impact's library, for instance. Maybe that's not the best example, but other examples like that.
To me, I think so much of it comes into like how they curate these collections. I think it's well and good to like just say, oh, we got all of Impact's library. Go out and get it. I think I'm the type of fan who needs that type of content presented to me in a way that makes that content relevant. Similar to like, I think how you and I try to frame, review-aways to... Or whatever thing that we have to look back on as, why should you care about this in 2018? I think they need to do that with any type of content that they get. Like, for me to have to go out there and to, like, come up with what to watch, I don't really, it's not on the top of my mind. But if you tell me, oh, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe face each other before, this is what that match looked like the first time before you watch the next one, I'm a lot more interested at that point. So it comes down to curation for me.
Few people threw in the idea of having at the tier where you can watch shows with alternate commentary.
I love
different teams.
I love that idea. Yeah,
like using Jim Ross for.
Now that's that's an added expense.
Yes,
and you'd have to fly Jim Ross every single time. You'd have to is that something he would want to do? And who do you? I'll tell you something that I don't understand why they still haven't done more of yet is to add alternate commentary from the performers themselves, looking back at those old matches, like a DVD commentary.
Well, maybe that's your happy medium, is you fly in Jim Ross to call 20 matches one day with various talent, and you selectively put
I'm not
them
even
up.
looking for a call. I'm looking for, Edge and Christian sitting down together to rewatch one of their old matches with Jeff and Matt Hardy. That type of stuff.
I'm just looking through the last couple here to see if anyone else. You always get a lot of.
But again, I don't know if that's something I would pay $6 extra for. I feel like those are just bonuses that you should already be including into your base tier.
The last one was Post Wrestling, the TV show.
Probably not happening.
Not happening. Downloadable content was definitely the most popular as I'm going through the replies here. So that seems to be a big one, and
enough to justify the cost. You think? Coupled with a bunch of other.
For me, it was it's a nice incentive. All these options are nice little incentives that I don't know if together would require me to move it up there.
Did they talk about a tier below $9 that might just include streaming, the stream live
Not that
feed?
I'm aware of. No.
Right.
I don't think you want to introduce a lower tier.
That's true.
I think you want people to either maintain or go up.
Because in hindsight, really, they could have said $9.99 just for the streaming live feed. You don't get to watch anything on demand. $15 to watch the live stream and to watch everything at your leisure, to me, makes a lot of sense.
If they could go back to 2014, I think this is introduced much differently. I said at the time, I thought $9.99 was way too low. I think they were scared off by Netflix and thought, we can't overcharge Netflix. But you're wrong, because you did charge every month.
So what do you think about a price increase for that base tier?
If you took the WWE Network as it is now and said, instead of $9.99, it is now $12.99, I'd upgrade in a heartbeat.
I would too.
I would.
But how many people do you think they lose? And the risk is that the people that don't watch it at all will realize, oh my God, that's something I barely watch now is going up by $3. I'll tell you, if Netflix went up $3, there are months where I don't watch Netflix.
Yeah.
I would seriously consider, do I need this thing anymore?
They haven't done it, so it tells me that they have probably looked at it and don't want to move from that price point. But I feel from the start that you could have started at a significantly higher price point, and whether it took a longer amount of time to pick people up, the big hook now is you get it free for a month, and there's so many ways around getting the network for free. But I think that $9.99, they really undercut themselves at the beginning. It's not the same thing, but we spent so much time going over our Patreon, and
we were really hesitant to even make it $6, or at least I was.
Yeah,
because that's more than a lot of other Patreons out there that are $5. But you were very encouraging to let me believe that I think what we were doing was a premium service, and that we were probably offering a lot more for those $5 than almost any other Patreon that was out there. So now we're even talking about if $6 I'm very happy with. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the latest on the WWE Network.
Yeah.
So interesting. I more or less want to get to everyone's different ideas, because it's kind of interesting to look at what people want as they kind of examine the WWE Network, and kind of they've reached this figure. They're at about 1.6 million worldwide subscribers at the moment, and they're looking at ways that we may not be growing numbers-wise, so of those 1.6 million, can we get more out of those 1.6 million?
I think it needs to be added, too, that, like, this network thing is no longer a make or break for this company, you know?
No.
Like, it's just there, and if they can make more money out of it, great, you know? If we can maintain it, I'm sure that they'll still be just as happy.
Yes.
But,
yeah. It's not the thing you build the company around. Now it's the television deals. All right. You have a gift, I understand?
Yes, that's right. Yes, from Robert.
Wow.
Brockie, the aforementioned, the postmaster, Robert Brockie, who sent this to us. I don't know what it is. He said to us to commemorate, I think, 1 year of, I guess, being self-employed.
No. Well, that was very kind of Robert.
Do you want to do the honors? I
Why
have
not?
no idea what this is.
Sure. All right. Okay, from Robert Brockie. Oh boy,
Yeah, this is.
I was never good with these.
One of these tough ones.
We need a
Knife or scissors.
here. Do you have a knife?
I got a key.
Key will work. Okay.
Oh, it's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah, we don't typically get gifts. Oh. It's double packed, way. Double packed.
Double packed. Oh my god.
Okay, here we go. We're through the. Okay, well here we go. Oh, look at this. Whoa!
Wow.
Look at that.
Damn.
It's like the end of Infinity
Here.
War. Plus,
Check this out.
that's very cool.
Wow, custom graphic here.
This is cool.
Okay, on the back, I will read it.
All right.
Congrats on getting laid off a year ago. It was the best decision you ever made. Or you never made. I made these limited edition postcards for you. Artwork by Michael Phillips. Etsy.com/shop/Mount Michael. Etsy.com/shop/Mount Michael. I hope it's on brand. Too many more years of you guys watching wrestling so I don't have to.
These
Robert
are awesome.
Brockie, the postmaster. Thank you so much,
Look at
postmaster.
these.
Wow.
This is so cool.
That is amazing. Well, we will certainly make use of this. In fact, maybe we'll start throwing these into
That's awesome.
the ice cap packages and maybe even some of the combo packages. So these are fantastic. These are very cool. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, that's awesome. Robert has been just such a huge help to us in so many ways.
For me, I could say, like, to me, the unofficial, like, third member of, like, what we've been doing. Like, he is a man who, like, without even us prompting, decided to, like, when we were putting all of our shows out on the archive.org thing, he was able to collect it all into a website, onto, what is it, John and Wai Forever?
For life.
For life. It's been a while. But then, even beyond that, like, he's our web guy now, the man in charge of a whole lot of stuff for us. So thank you, Robert. Really
Taught us all
appreciate
about SEO,
this. Yes, SEO master.
headings,
Yeah.
the man.
Very cool.
All right.
Very cool.
Well, that was super, super kind of Robert to send along. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this fun little post-production video. A lighter show for us to do this week.
Yeah.
A lot of heavy topics. Sure. So anyway, hope you enjoyed all of this. We're going to be back on Sunday after the Evolution show, where if you are a double-double, which everyone listening to this is, so all of you that are watching this can watch us live right after the Evolution show. We're going to be doing our post show immediately after the show. Podcast will be up later that night as well, and we'll be chatting all about Evolution. Lots to come this weekend and next week, so thank you for listening. Goodbye.